You've probably heard about the growing tensions between Iran and the US. The bottom line? Well, Donald Trump says Iran could be bombed if it doesn't agree a deal on its nuclear program and its regional influence.
Doing a deal would be preferable to doing the obvious.
The US president now says there will be direct negotiations in Oman. But what's really going on behind the scenes? Trump sent a letter to the Iranian leadership last month asking for negotiations. But there's also a sticking point. He's been piling on even more sanctions on Iranians and repeatedly threatening them. So Tehran's response, they won't sit down with what they call a bully, at least not directly, but Iran says indirect talks are happening this Saturday. So, what else has Iran been doing in the face of all this pressure from Trump? For months now, the Iranian army and the Revolutionary Guard have been testing an arsenal of new weapons, both defensive and offensive. Their commanders say they don't want war, but they're ready for a long fight if it comes to that. Iran is showing off new technology, from missile defense batteries to long-range projectiles like ballistic and cruise missiles, and a variety of drones capable of carrying reconnaissance, kamikaze, or bombing missions. And the Revolutionary Guard has been revealing these massive underground military bases. Now, let's take a look at how we got here. Back in 2018, Trump unilaterally left Iran's nuclear deal with world powers. Now that was a deal that the Obama administration had signed just 3 years earlier. That deal put strict limits on Iran's nuclear activities in exchange for lifting UN sanctions. Now the Trump administration says it wants a new deal rather than military strikes on Iran's critical infrastructure like nuclear facilities, refineries, and even power plants. But Washington has been gunning for the full dismantlement of Iran's nuclear program in a way that the entire world can see. Iran already has enough fissile material for multiple bombs, but it hasn't made the decision to do it. The reason? A fatwa or religious ruling by the Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei which forbids it for now. But Khamenei said this last month.
به خاطر این است که خودمون نمیخوایم به دلایلی که این دلایل رو قبلا این دلایل رو گفتیم بحث کردیم خودمون نخواستیم ولی اگه خودمون میخواستیم اونا نمیتوانستن جلو ما رو بگیرن.
Who's at least somewhat in Iran's corner? Step forward, China and Russia. The three countries have been holding political talks and even joint military exercises in the past month. But as politicians and military leaders entrench their positions and trade barbs, it is, as always, millions of Iranians who are suffering the most. As Iran's economy takes massive hits from America's maximum pressure and local mismanagement, Iranians have increasingly become isolated, and it's they who are paying the price.
Kalalau Malak Yahweh, Wa Yahushai, Bahashem, Rachak Wadash, and double honors to the elders of GMS Ruel, blessings unto those men, and blessings and salutations to the Akim out there in truth, pushing his word in all sincerity and in honesty. With that being said, Shalom Israel Barakatah. Today's lesson, it is prophesied that Iran shall come with great power. And biblical scripture has said that the Iranians, aka the Persians, shall come with great power. Now, when it comes to Iran, they have the knowledge and capability to build a nuclear weapon due to all the fissile material that they possess. Now, Iran claims that the reason they do not engage in the production of nuclear weapons, as you clearly saw in the video, is due to the fatwa, religious ruling of the Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, which forbids it for now. You see? Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. He forbids it for now. Now, the Ayatollah Supreme Leader did say that if Iran wanted to develop a nuclear weapon upon the video, America will not be able to stop them, you see? Now, according to this article, I truly believe that they have already made them and are stored in a secret location. And according to this U.S. intelligence article, analysts believe Iran paused working on nuclear weapons in 2003. Remember, it was a pause. But that they have continued to develop nuclear technology and expertise, so they continued, including improved abilities to enrich uranium, which can be used as nuclear fuel. Uranium enriched to 90% purity can be used to manufacture nuclear weapons. You see? Now, according to this article, Iran paused in working on nuclear weapons in 2003. But how many did they manage to build before that pause? You see? That's why I believe that they have a few stored away. Remember that all nations have their well-kept secrets from one another. Why not Iran? And after all, they are not going to build a weapon of that destructive caliber during an invasion, because by the time it takes them to build one and set it up, all their infrastructure and facilities could be taken out in that time span. You see? But according to this article, it says U.S. officials have said they believe Iran could turn that uranium into enough weapons-grade material for one bomb in as little as a week. You see? So it takes some time to build it. By that time, their infrastructure and facilities are taken out. However, they have also said it will take Iran between a year to 18 months to build a nuclear weapon. Some experts say a crude device could be built in 6 months or less. And this was posted 1 day ago. And by these online reports, it takes less than a week to a few weeks to make a nuclear weapon. So I believe that they are already prepared and have a few stored away somewhere deep in that Missile City labyrinth, because it is a labyrinth of theirs, a huge labyrinth of missiles, and it could go on for miles, or perhaps in another secret underground facility kept away from the public. And when it comes to Iran now, has a massive underground missile facility filled with a cache of high-powered weaponry. And it is prophesied that Iran shall come with great power to destroy the land of the Assyrians, which is talking about modern-day America. It's not talking about ancient Assyria. And this is why the ArmyRecognition.com website went on to say that the U.S. Strategic Command warns Iran now holds Middle East's largest ballistic missile arsenal. That underground missile city of Iran is a vast rocket labyrinth that holds some of Iran's most advanced weapons. But either way, prophecy shall be fulfilled, because it's destined for Iran to come out in great power with the dragons of Arabia, according to the scriptures. You see? Yeah, Russia will also supply them with weapons. That's true also. But in coming with great power, they shall waste a portion of the land of the Assyrians. The land of the Assyrians is not referring to the ancient land of the Assyrians, but it's referring to modern-day America. Remember that the Bible speaks in code, parables, and in mysteries. Here we have the scripture of 2 Esdras 15 and 28, which says, "Behold, an horrible vision, and the appearance thereof from the east." Right, the appearance thereof from the east, that speaks of the Middle East, which in reality is Western Asia Minor. So it's a horrible vision that he saw. And here we have that scripture of 2 Esdras 15 and 29, where the nations of the dragons of Arabia shall come out with many chariots, and the multitude of them shall be carried as the wind upon earth, that all they which hear them may fear and tremble. Salakia. May fear and tremble, you see? And these so-called Arab nations shall come out with many chariots, which goes into their vehicles, tanks, and other kinds of weaponry. And those weapons shall also be supplied by Russia. And when it comes to the Hebrew word Arab, it simply means mixed. These so-called Arab nations are mixed. They're a mixed nation. And the multitude of them shall be carried as the wind upon earth. That speaks of those missiles that shall travel at the speed of sound from one end to another. That's why the Carmanians, aka the Iranians, shall come out in great power, and they shall destroy the portion of the land of the Assyrians, which speaks of America. Remember that America likes to take on those the ways of the other empires. That's why you see in the back of a dollar bill a pyramid, because America is also called Egypt, Babylon the Great, Basra, Idumea, etc. But they shall come out in great power and destroy a portion of the land of the Assyrians, which speaks of America. Now, hypersonic weapons, on the other hand, travel at more than 5 times the speed of sound, or Mach 5. And when it comes to those hypersonic weapons, Russia has plenty of those, and they shall use them against modern-day Babylon the Great in the time of war. World War III, that is. And it shall be the Spirit of the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, that shall guide all these missiles to hit all their strategic targets upon modern-day Babylon the Great, and none shall miss, according to the scripture of 2 Esdras 16 and 13. So there goes your nuclear defense capabilities. And here we have that scripture of 2 Esdras 15 and 30, which speaks of the Iranians, aka the Persians. Second Esdras 15 and 30. Also the Carmanians, raging in wrath, shall go forth as the wild boars of the wood, and with great power shall they come, and join battle with them, and shall waste a portion of the land of the Assyrians. You see? Now remember that the Bible speaks in code, parables, and in mystery. And that land of the Assyrians is not talking about the ancient land of the Assyrians. It's talking about modern day Assyria, which is America. The Carmanians is in reference to the Iranians, aka the Persians. The Carmanians represent the Iranian wild boars of Iran. And it is prophesied that they shall come with great power. The Carmanians represent the Iranian wild boars of Iran. And it is prophesied that they shall come with great power. And that great power is due to their military might. And if you know about wild boars, they are big, they are mean, and they are fierceless. So they shall come with great power. And when it comes to the Iranians, they too shall be in that fierce mentality, just like the wild boar. The Carmanians raging, meaning that they shall be stirred up with the uncontrollable violent anger. Raging also means that they shall continue with great force or intensity. And the scripture of 2 Esdras 15 and 30 does say that they shall be raging and come with great power at the same time. But all the Arab nations, all those dragons of Arabia will join together in that final showdown of World War III. And DJT is beginning to stir up those wild boars of Iran. But when they shall all join together, they shall come up against the land of the Assyrians. And I'll say it again, the land of the Assyrians is not referring to the ancient land of the Assyrians. It's referring to modern day America. The modern day Assyrian is Edom, the so-called white race. Remember that the Bible speaks in code, parables, and in mystery. That's why these Christians have a hard time understanding it. But remember that when it comes to the nation of Edom, they like to take on the role of the other nations. You see, but they do not like to take on the role of their own given biblical name, Edom. But when it comes to Iran, they should not be underestimated, because they have an enormous arsenal at their disposal. They have accurate and sophisticated theater ballistic missiles with a range of 1,200 miles and tactical ballistic missiles, the TBMs. And they also have cruise missiles, unmanned drones, unmanned systems and drones at that. And no longer can the smaller nations be bullied. They have leveled the playing field, just like Iran has done. Iran now possesses nuclear capability, and I believe that they already have them stored away in a secret facility, because they're not going to wait to the last minute to build one. By that time span, all their infrastructure and facilities could be bombed by those mother of all bombs that the United States possesses. The Carmanians shall rage in wrath, and with great power shall they come. You see? And right now, those tensions are extremely high with Iran and the United States due to that nuclear deal. Let's see what happens. I think it's this Saturday. But if Iran was to get attacked or invaded by the West, that will automatically draw out the Russians to war. An attack on Iran will definitely draw out the Russians. And an attack on the Israeli state will draw out the Americans. The least of the flock shall draw them out, meaning that the Israeli state shall draw the Americans to war. So either or, you're in a move of checkmate. And we are no longer living in the time of peace, but of war. Once they implement that CHIP of Revelation 13 and 16, all hell breaks loose. That third world war comes quickly. But also the time approaches when the allies of America shall betray America. The scriptures have also said that the least of the flock shall draw them out. That speaks of the small hatters of Amalek drawing out the Americans to war. That's also prophecy. And Joel 3 and 10 did say, let the weak say I am strong. And that's because these smaller nations right now have nuclear capability. That's biblical prophecy. Meaning that the little guy can no longer be bullied. You see? But with that being said, Kal Olam Malak Yahweh, Wa Yahushai, Bahashem, Rachak Wadash, and double honors to the elders of GMS Ruwell, blessings unto those men, and blessings and salutations to the Akim out there in truth, pushing this word in all sincerity and in honesty. With that being said, Shalom Israel, Barakatah.